Hi guys, welcome back. I hope all is well at your end. So today I thought I'll share two cards with you all, and in both these cards I'll be using a completely new way to foil, and that is using iron, and we'll see at the end how it goes. So what I do is I start off with two pieces of Craftangles dual textured white cardstock. Now this is 300 GSM cardstock which I normally use for my card making base, and I stick my stencil on top of it. Now the cardstock measures 4 inches by 8 inches and it is scored at uh, it is scored at the 4 inches along the 8 inches side. Now here you will see that I have done my first mistake, that is while applying the stencils. Now just to let you know, this was my first attempt with foil magic. When I started, I have shot all the videos in one day and this was my first attempt, and you can see the way I have stuck the stencil to the paper is actually I've stuck it to the back paper and then I have put cardstock at the top, so there is nothing that is stopping the cardstock from moving. And that is why I did not get a very good clean impression like how I got in with other stencils like the small Ganesha stencil, Indian motif stencil and the neighborhood stencil. So those were my later attempts, and I'll link those videos below down for you all where you can see how well it's stenciled out. Anyways, once I'm done with the stenciling, so the stencil that I'm using is Starry Background by Craftangles, and then what I do is once it is all dry, so how do I know foil magic is dry is it is extremely clear once it is dry. I'll be using an iron to do the foiling. Now I have actually kept the iron pretty hot, so it has been heating up on the side while my paper is drying. So now you can see that the paper is completely dry and my iron is also ready. Now I'm putting a paper on top of it, so technically the iron will not get dirty. However, I don't use this iron anymore for ironing my clothes. This is just for my crafting purposes. So you decide how you want to use. Normally I don't think it's an issue, but still. Now you will see that I am putting a lot of pressure and making sure that my iron is pretty hot. So the temperature of my iron is around 4 or 5 on the scale. So 1 is the lowest and 5 is the highest. So 4 is a good temperature, and let it get hot properly and then do it. Now you'll see that I tried and put a lot of pressure through my hand on top of the iron, which was my second mistake. So what happened was that some of the paste of foil magic melted down to the surrounding areas, and that is why you see that my stars were not very crisp. So probably if you are using iron, don't put a lot of pressure, just let iron's heat do the job for you rather than the pressure of it. And you can see I'm literally putting a lot of pressure through my hand because, as I said, it was my first attempt. However, my mistake is of course your gain. So if you are using Craftangles reactive foils and Craftangles foil magic, just with iron, just let the iron do all the job for you and don't put a lot of pressure. At the end you will see that since it's a starry background stencil, which is it effectively creates just star like background for your project. In the end, all it mattered was that I wanted to create the whole starry background kind of a thing. So at the end these kind of small mistakes where the stars were not perfect, etc., did not matter. So you will see at the end when we reach to the actual product, we'll reach to the actual card making. So now for the stamping that I'm going to use. So the stamp that I'm using is Rain or Shine by Craftangles, and it has some very cute ducks and different poses, and it actually reminds me a lot of like a fairy tale scene and kind of a thing. So that is what I wanted to go for, an illustration fairy tale kind of a looking card. So that is the stamp set I'm selecting, and I have stamped the one of the umbrella using VersaFine Onyx black ink. Now this is my go-to ink, as you all know, for whenever I'm doing watercoloring, etc. However, it's not one of the best ink when you want to do Copic coloring. So if you want to do Copic coloring, I would suggest you use Memento Tuxedo black ink. Again, both the whatever I talk about, Memento, VersaFine, everything will be linked below for you all. So not to worry. the next thing that I am doing is I'm coloring them with watercolors, which is one of my favorite medium. And the colors that I am using are Craftangles liquid watercolors. So I'm using Poolside for blue, Pretty Peony for pink, Lemon Tart for green, Lemon Tart for yellow, and Evergreen for green. Okay, and then I'll fussy cut it using my scissors. Now you can see that I have already colored another critter as well on the right. Now this is also from the same stamp set, and I have already colored it and kept it ready because you know, I did not want to waste a lot of your time, and already this video is going to be long, so I did not want to make a very long video. So the colors that I have used for the duck is yellow, which is Lemon Tart. For the cap I have used moss green, which is a dark green color, and for the umbrella I have used Poolside color. Again, very quick coloring, not a lot of fuss in it. And you can also see that over here I have used dual textured white cardstock for coloring rather than a watercolor paper, because I just wanted to show you, of course, you know, the coloring is not going to be as good as watercolor paper, because with watercolor paper you get that time to blend, etc. However, they work pretty well with watercolor, Zig, Copic. So if you are looking for one cardstock for your card making, which will do your ink blending for you, your basic watercoloring, basic Copic coloring, anything, you know, especially for starters who cannot afford different cardstock for different things, I think you should definitely give Craftangles dual textured white a try, you know. And plus you get two textures, so one is smooth and one is rough. In most of my cases I like to use rough because I like to have that non-glossy shine on my cards, but you are free to use either depending on your choices. The foils that I have used are again two basic colors from Craftangles, silver and gold foil. Okay, and just to show you some variations, I'll be doing some ink blending on top of it, and you know, for ink blending my favorite product is Craftangles ink blending brushes. And for those of you who have been asking for us, you know, to get it back in stock, it is back in stock. Again, the link will be below for you all if you want to check out. But for the first card I'll be using Tubby inks, because I know a lot of you again have queries on Indian ink pads, that you know how well it will work or how it compares to Tim Holtz Distress ink, etc. So you will see me using blue shades on both the cards. In first card I'm using Tubby ink. This is, I think, aqua color or turquoise color. I think it's mostly turquoise color, the darker blue turquoise version. Aqua is a lighter version. So I'm just using two shades, combination of two shades. So in the center I'm using aqua, and in the corners I'm using turquoise, and then I'm blending the two. Now you can see blending is such a breeze even with Tubby inks, Distress ink, anything, and that is because of this blending ink cardstock, which is Craftangles dual textured white, and the blending brushes. Now for those of you who are curious, I have done a lot of testing on various papers, and I have shown you a video where, you know, I show you what are the different papers and how the blending works with Craftangles ink blending and, you know, Distress ink. So I'll link that below for you as well in case you guys are interested. So what I do once I'm done my blending is that I put some splatters of water. Now this is just to imitate the effect of rain. And also what will happen is, once I do that, those splatters will take away my eye from the imperfections of the foiling that has happened, because, you know, the foil glue passed through the stencil when I was heating the iron. Okay, because of the heat of the iron, I told you, right, a little bit of foil got melted. So those were certain imperfections that were there on the background. So what I did was I actually added some droplets of water, and overall then you could not see a lot of difference. You know, it took away your eye from all those imperfections. So that is also another cool way to normally add droplets, etc. Because let's say if your background is not perfect, it normally takes away your eye from all those imperfections. And at the end of the day, I feel it is handmade, so imperfections is completely okay. It's the thought process and the effort that counts. But I'm sure there are certain perfectionists, and even I sometimes feel that, you know, you need to have a perfect card. So this is a good trick to draw your eye away. Now on the sentiment part, what I have done is I have used Craftangles Midnight Black cardstock, and I am doing my regular embossing. So I'm using my favorite embossing ink. Again, I cannot recommend this enough. This is Versamark embossing ink, and with that I am using Ranger Superfine white powder, and the sentiments are also from the same stamp set. So I really like this particular sentiment, so that is why you see me repeating it in both the cards. So for the second card, as I told you, right, I'll be using Tim Holtz Distress Inks. So the colors that I am using are Chipped Sapphire, and the other one also you'll see, I think this is Tumbled Glass or Broken China, either, I'm not sure. Once the lid will come in, you will be able to see better. And then again, I'm using Craftangles ink blending brushes to blend the background. Again, you can see that the blending etc is very easy, primarily because you are using the right cardstock and the right tool. Now if you are new to card making and you have issues with ink blending, I cannot stress enough that your everything else is secondary. The thing that you want to concentrate more is on the paper and the tool. I have had right paper for years, trust me, and I could still not do a blending like a pro, because for me those foam handled tools did not work. So for me, I really felt that these ink blending brushes were perfect, because it gave me optimum amount of pressure, and especially it does not give those lines. So for those of you who have already done ink blending with foam tools, you will know that it gives those harsh edges. This does not give that. So I really feel that if you are struggling with ink blending, work with the right paper and right tool, and your life will be very easy. So now over here, I'm just placing everything and just checking out how the things look, etc. And then I'll be just sticking everything with my favorite glues. Again, whenever I do card making, I normally like to use tapes, and with tapes I like to use my blue double-sided foam tapes or the red tacky tape, either, depending on whether you want to do dimensions or not. So it is your call. I'll link down the tapes for you as well. So just to let you know that I normally use blue double-sided foam tapes or red tacky tape, because I also get that question a lot. I normally don't like to use liquid glues on my cards. That is normally there when I have to stick very small pieces. Then I go for glue, where I feel that the tape cutting will be a pain. And then you can see over here, I'm just showing you that this is the non-sticky scissor, and in case if there is some stickiness that has come on top of it, you can see cleaning it with a rubber is such a ease. This is the difference between your regular scissors and a non-stick scissors. Again, this is a question that I get a lot. What is the difference? Non-stick scissor, does it mean that it will not stick at all? Now just to give you an analogy, right, if you are cooking your food in a non-stick pan, does that mean that it will not stick at all? You still add some oil, right, so that the vegetables don't stick on top of the non-stick pan. Same thing, that the tape will also stick. However, the cleaning is way easier than your regular scissors. Trust me, I have thrown out scissors because they were not non-stick and everything got stuck on top of it. So again, if you are into a lot of card making and you go you use a lot of tapes etc., then I would highly suggest again using non-stick scissors. But again, it's not necessary. You could definitely live without it and use your regular scissors and probably clean them with a sanding paper or things like that, and over the period of time just throw the scissor and get a new one. That is completely your call. However, now that I have non-stick scissors in my craft room, I can understand what was the whole fuss about. It makes your life a lot easier. Also, another tool that I wanted to talk about that I missed out was that during embossing, you would have seen me adding some powder like tool. Now, if you want to invest into an anti-static powder, I would highly suggest that you invest into an EK Success powder tool. Again, the link will be in the description below for you all. Now that powder tool, I think as far as I could see the mechanism, it is refillable. So, you can then later on go and add your own powder in it and then refill it, rather than buying a bag every time, in buying a new bag of anti-static powder every time once you are done with it. So that's just another tool for you which will make your life very simple when you are doing embossing. So that were the 2 cards for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you got some tips and tricks on how to do card making and how to use foiling. And I'll see you in my next video. Till then, please take care. And if you like my videos, don't forget to like, do comment, and do consider subscribing. Bye-bye.